am back with a new video, and this video is going to be the third installment for the zodiac series, which is Sagittarius. So I almost did the rough sketch of this illustration like 7 to 8 months ago, and I did start it once. Like the first try was a big fail. Like the background did not work out at all like the way I wanted it to. So I decided to start it again as always. And this time I took a very different approach in painting the skin. The first thing I did was kind of establish the values and the blush areas in the skin. So I first started out with a violet underpainting and then added some pink in the areas where the blushing will exist, along with some yellow where the highlights will be. And then I glazed it with a very light layer of skin color, and I continued shading from there. It was actually a fun experiment. It did not take much of a difference, but it did make the work a little bit easier for me, because to be honest, like, it's very difficult trying to build up the shadows the way I want them to, and this technique really helped me. So I think I might continue doing this excuse me sorry, in the future. And yeah, and at this stage I was very happy with the drawing, the way it looked really pretty and beautiful. And I wanted to build up the blush around her cheeks a bit more, and I accidentally built it a bit too much, to the point where she started looking like a fucking mouse. Please excuse my language, but still, she looked like a mouse, bro, a mouse. And then I went on with some colored pencils to fix that in the later parts of the video. But yeah, this was actually pretty interesting. And another reason for using purple and yellow in the underpainting was because of the background. The background I wanted to be a galaxy, and for a galaxy there are mainly purple hues. We generally go with purple hues. So yeah, that's what I decided to go with. And yeah, in the highlights I added yellow, so that there's a yellow glow from the stars and whatnot. And yeah, and now it's time for the color pencil phase. Like, I tried to fix it with some colored pencils, and fortunately it worked. Like, I was so happy when it worked, because I was not interested in starting this artwork once again, because I've already did that like 3 times, so you know the struggle. So yeah, and I was able to fix it up in the colored pencil phase, and I'm pretty happy about that. And yeah, and I also played with a lot of camera angles in this video. Like, there are some overhead shots, some angled shots. There is quite a bit of a majority of angled shots, because I really like the angled shots. Like, it looks a lot more interesting to look at when you look at it. So yeah, that's why I use the angled shots for most of this video. And yeah, so with the galaxy, my first decision was to slowly build it up, like layer by layer. So I first added a light layer of blue, and I did that in my signature patchwork technique, or in watercolor. I might do a tutorial on how I do that technique. So yeah, I mixed some cerulean, a little bit of Prussian blue, and a hint of Payne's grey for the background, and then I started building from there. Like, from there I added some violets, some blues, greens, reds, and yellows. And yeah, and this artwork overall took quite a bit of color pencil, because mostly I don't do this much color pencil in my illustrations, but this time it did take that much colored pencils. And yeah, basically I don't know what to say about it, to be honest. Yeah, so I did use the color pencils for the background as well. I used it to add a little bit of a halo, kind of a pinkish shadow around it, to make the silhouette of the figure pop. And the way I decided to do the background in this one was, I really wanted it to be in a circular, ovalish way. My first attempt in this illustration was like a gradient from top to bottom, and did not look as good as I wanted it, so I decided to do it this way, and I'm really happy with the result right now. And yeah, it was just quite a bit of a layering of blues, purples, reds, green in some cases. Yeah, overall I really enjoyed working on this artwork, even though it did take quite a while to complete. And yeah, and another thing that I wanted to mention was that it took me around 7 hours to complete this illustration. Like, seriously, it just took me like 4 hours in the coloring phase, and I'm pretty sure it took me 2 hours while sketching, because I literally threw like 10 pieces of paper and none of them would turn out right, and then the last one would, and then yeah, I was happy. And it took around 1 hour for inking, because I really go slow with the inking process. So yeah, there's that. So yeah, overall I'm really happy with this illustration, to be honest, as I was saying. And yeah, it took me 7 hours to complete, etc, etc, vagera, whatever. And yeah, and uh, the thing I really liked about the rough sketch was her face. Like, her face looked so damn beautiful in the rough sketch, like those eyelashes. She had those big drag queen like eyelashes and everything. But yeah, I did not translate well into the final illustration, but I'm still happy with it. And the one thing I did was, for the bow and arrows and all the golden trim around her dress, borders and whatnot, I used colored pencils for that, because I suck at painting gold. Like, I somehow managed to paint gold in Cancer. It was like a hit or miss, and fortunate it was a hit on that one. So yeah, and the one thing that I really want to maintain in this series is that semi background ish effect. Like, there is a background, but there is not a background as well, like what you might have seen in my other illustrations. And for this video I use Canson A4 size Canson Montval watercolor paper, if which you didn't know is the paper I use, and I like it fairly well. For the watercolors I use the Sakura Koi watercolors, and to be honest, when I first bought them, I really liked the colors, like they were nice and vibrant and everything, like blah 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 blah. But over time, as I used them a lot more, they started cracking to a very unhealthy extent. Like, they cracked a bit too much. Like, seriously, I might upload videos, some pictures of this on my Instagram and Snapchat, maybe. And yeah, so make sure you go follow me on Instagram and add me on Snapchat if you haven't already, to see some behind the scenes. And yeah, well, yeah. And as for some more updates, school started. 11th, I am in 11th grade. Humanities. Life sucks basically. But anyways, and like with the hair, like, I was thinking of her hair color for quite a while, and then I went for this dark, almost a hybrid between a brunette and a blonde hair color. So I was also happy with that, and I was also contemplating my decision of her dress color. Like, in my head, I wanted the dress color to be violet, but then I thought that it might mix up a bit too much with the background. But it did mix up, but it did not mix that much that it would bother me a lot. And to be honest, I like it this way, because when I had a look at the color spectrum of Sagittarius, there were green, gold, yellowish, and violet colors. And yeah, and I really did like the violet, so I used that. But anyway, yeah, and I think I'll leave here for the narration for now, and that's the music, and come back later. So the drawing is coming along, and I was having a pretty good time with it. I really enjoyed the stippling of the stars and everything, and yeah. And one thing I forgot to mention was that I was going to end the zodiac series and not complete it after this illustration because I just wasn't feeling it as much, but I did start to feel it afterwards. Like, I have sketched some other designs, so yeah. And I'm actually, and yeah, I do plan on continuing the series. I won't end it just yet, so yeah. And most probably the next sign will be Aquarius, but I won't upload uh, another zodiac for some time because I'm working on some other artworks that I really want to complete. And if you want a sneak peek of those, you can visit my Instagram once again. I have self-promoted my Instagram like 2 times in this video, and I will also promote it in the end. Anyways, so yeah. And I was working with the colored pencils, and I was really happy with the way the gold turned out. And but I did think that it got a little too far with the intensity of it, but I was working with colored pencils. I did not have as many shades, so it was difficult for me to control the intensity, but I still like it. It looks good. And yeah, and quite possibly the most difficult thing was the hair. For some reason, like, I really got frustrated with the hair to a point where I left the artwork for some time and then touched it back again. And the hair was actually very, like, it wasn't as smooth a ride. I did have to work quite a bit on it. And yeah, on camera it doesn't, on the screen it does not seem as much, but I did work quite a bit on it. And yeah, we had the frequent changing of camera angles because, as I said, I was experimenting with the camera angles. So in the next videos it will be a lot more stable. So yeah. And I've also been working on, I've also have a collaboration for my next video that I'll talk about it in that video too. And yeah, I don't really know what to say. Like, there were a few mistakes in this drawing, like the way her hand and the arrow, like one of her fingers should be on the bow of the arrow and something, if you know what I mean. But yeah, and as for the materials, they will all be listed below. I use colored pencils by Maped, etc, etc, blah blah blah. And yeah, it was pretty fun working on it again. And I guess that is about it for this video. I hope you guys enjoy this. If you do, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. That's about it. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and follow me on all social media. I have Pinterest, Instagram, Snapchat, everything. And yeah, I also changed my name. I changed the name from my real name to a pseudonym called The Darker Artist because I really like the name, and I think it does describe me a little bit more since I tend to be a bit on the dark side with my concept. So a darker artist it is, and I was looking for a pseudonym anyways. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys in my next